Welcome to a special episode of Profit Made Simple. My name is Dan Henderson, and today we have a guest all the way from WA. Welcome to the podcast, Beck.
Thank you for having me.
Absolute pleasure. I'm excited about today's episode. We are going to discuss all things meta ads, one of your passions. Now, before we dive into it, why are you so passionate about marketing and meta ads, Beck?
I love the fitness industry and I've been in it for over 17 years now, and running meta ads is just another way for me to have a direct positive impact on thousands of people's lives by helping them get into health and fitness.
Love that. You've been in the industry a long time. Yep. You've worn different hats. We've had you on the podcast before. You've shared your story. How long have you been in the ads game? And what does a day in the life look like for Beck?
So in the ads game for about 8 years now. So I was self-taught when I had my own fitness business, and I had to learn very quickly, as you know, when you need leads on tap. And at the moment, a day in the life is working with around 65 clients across Australia, New Zealand, the US and the UK, helping them put together multiple campaigns to drive leads and sales into their business.
Awesome. Well, let's talk about meta ads is changing. I have been running ad campaigns for the past decade, and I've never seen changes this profound. It looks entirely different. When I went into the back of Ads Manager the other day, I'm like, here's another new feature. So let's dissect all of that and talk about how it's changed, why it's changed, and what we need to do differently. So let's discuss some of the changes first and foremost. What are some of the most profound changes that have taken place?
At the moment, Meta have invested billions of dollars into the platform. They are pushing for Advantage Plus placements and creatives, and they are pushing to use their AI across the platform to help get people better results.
Okay, so they're using this Advantage Plus. What the hell does that mean?
So they want you to use their AI to pick your audiences, to help write your ad copy, and to use their creatives rather than you going and trying to pick out the best possible clients for yourself.
Okay, so in theory, well, it sounds like this should make our lives easier as advertisers.
In theory, yes, but the AI is not quite there yet, in my opinion. So I would take it with a small grain of salt, but you do need to start playing by Meta's game and using their Advantage Plus if you want to keep your lead cost low.
Okay, so if I understand you correctly, Meta is changing their platform so it's more AI driven.
Correct.
They're saying rather than you tell us what he's going to perform, we're just going to tell you, and our AI is smarter than you. So it's going to choose the copy, the targeting, eventually the images as well.
Correct.
You're saying it's not quite there. So we're kind of in this in-between phase. So how do we navigate the platform when it's not quite the finished product? What do we do differently as advertisers? Are we using Advantage Plus? Are we using open wide targeting?
I would try both. And that's the little part where a lot of testing comes into play. So I would split my ads and I would have an ad running that is purely AI driven by Meta. And then I would have a separate ad running that is chosen by yourself. So still picking your audience, still picking your gender and your age and your location, and then compare them and see which one performs better.
Okay, so let me understand this correctly. Right now, you're going to test the AI platform itself. You're going to say, choose the copy for me. Choose the targeting for me.
Correct.
Am I still choosing my images and creative?
I would still choose your images and creative.
Okay, so still choosing my images and creative. And then I would compare that and test that against one where I am choosing everything very specifically. And then I'll just scale which one works best.
Correct.
So there's one example of a change that's taking place. What's another example where the platform has changed?
The platform is making a huge push to Reels and video creative. So it wants your ad to look like a normal video that would pop into anybody's feed, and it has to look natural, but it has to be well edited at the same time.
Okay, so we want highly curated, good video content. We're doing this podcast, we're doing it in a studio itself. So that makes a lot of sense. The algorithm, from what I understand, not only the algorithm, but actually Meta itself is going, we will actually favor video-based content, but that content must be high quality. It must look like native content, but at the same time, it must be well edited, entertaining, strong hooks. Is that right?
Absolutely. And the competition on the platform at the moment is fierce. And if you don't have these things dialed in, you will pay the price on your cost per lead.
A mentor said to me a couple of years ago, said, Dan, one of the great differentiators when it comes to marketing, particularly in the paid marketing space, is going to be how good your creative is. Would you agree with that?
100%. That is the biggest scroll stopper, is how good is your creative and how good does it stack up next to your competitors as well.
Okay, so we've got Advantage Plus, which is essentially using the AI targeting platform. We've got the real emphasis on good quality video and rewarding that. What are some of the other changes that are taking place in 2025?
So Meta have realized that a lot of the leads that people were getting were not of the greatest quality, which is fantastic because now they're making changes to actually help people get better quality leads. So a few different ways that they've done that. They have introduced a one-time password on a lead form. And that basically means that once a prospect registers their details, they must then go and get a one-time password delivered to their phone to be able to submit their details. That's going to make for a really high quality lead.
I absolutely love that because one of the things that we've heard from clients for a really long time is I'm getting a ton of leads, but they are poor quality. I'm calling them, they've got fake numbers, they've got fake emails, they never pick up the phone, and it just breeds frustration and also a little bit of a mistrust with the actual platform and the advertising itself.
Yeah, and Meta realized that, and they want to keep as many people on their platform as possible rather than go to different places to advertise. So they've actually been really good at implementing those changes to help.
Yeah, love the one-time password. Are there other things that Meta is doing to ensure that businesses are getting better qualified leads?
Absolutely. So again, on the lead form section of the ad, they've introduced autofill, which I actually believe you should switch off because, again, you want a higher quality lead. So you want your prospect to have to enter their phone number manually, enter their email manually, and then you can guarantee that they're actual real people, not just bots and spam people that would be, trying to drive your lead cost up.
Yeah, I think one of the other things as well is a lot of times people have a Facebook account that they started when they were much, much younger.
Guilty.
You've got a Hotmail address for sure.
In my maiden name.
And so at least this allows us to get the most current, up-to-date contact details. So it's creating a little bit more friction for the prospect. We have a one-time password. You get to select whether you want to put it on or off.
Correct.
So you should expect a higher cost per lead. Is that right?
Absolutely. It will drive your cost per lead up through the roof. However, if you have got a high quality lead that you are confident that you can then convert, it's way better to have someone that's ready to buy than people that are just zipping through lead forms and registering accidentally.
Okay, let's talk about this for a little bit, and then I'm going to come back to the other ways that Meta is enabling us to have better leads. A really key point there, because what I see a lot of agencies do is they will brag about how many leads they can get at the cost per lead. So they're not going to be running things with one-time passwords, and they're going to be having the autofill switched on, and they're going to be making it as easy as possible to give you your vanity metrics, right?
Correct.
What's more important than CPL?
CAC, cost to acquire a client. And then after that, your lifetime client value. So what are you prepared to pay for a client? How long do they stay with you? And then you can work out your ROI or your ROAS.
Yeah, and it's such an important differentiation. The cost per lead, I shouldn't say that it doesn't matter because obviously that influences CAC, but you've got to look at it within the full context because if you get 10 leads at $10 a lead, yet it's still costing you $100 to acquire that client, or you get 2 leads at $50 a lead, I know which one I would prefer because it's a lot less resources, a lot less frustration, and it's just streamlines my efficiency.
Absolutely. A lot less stress on sales teams, a lot less pressure, and like you say, much less frustration, and you've got clients ready to buy rather than you having to chase them.
Okay, so we need to know what our CAC is, all right? Our cost, customer acquisition cost. I will break that down. It's just not a word that we like to say. So how much are you spending to acquire a client?
Correct.
And then the other one you said is LCV, lifetime client value. How much does that client spend with you over the lifetime that they are a client?
So if I have a client paying me $100 a week and they stay with me for 50 weeks, then we've got a high value $5,000 client. If you have somebody that's going to stay with you for 6 weeks and they only pay you $20 a week, low value client. So you need to be able to work out exactly how much they are going to be worth to you over the lifetime that they are with you.
Yeah, it also enables us to get very clear on how much we can spend.
Correct.
Because we do get that question a lot, don't we, Beck, is how much should I spend on ads? And I don't give just a single figure. I'm like, well, it depends. How many clients do you want? How much is your acquisition cost? How much is your LCV? And then we can determine, all right, how much can we now budget accordingly?
Correct. And I think it's one of the biggest frustrations for people because they're like, just give me a number, tell me how much I should spend. And other factors to bring into that too would be the quality of your follow-up and how good are you at actually closing sales.
Yeah, there's obviously going to be a myriad of factors
Correct.
that enable you to get that CAC down. It's not just going to be the lead itself, but from a meta perspective and an advertising perspective, we've got a lot of control. We can get better leads in our pipeline.
Correct, yeah.
And we can do that through our creative, our copy, but now we can also do it through essentially pre-qualifying the lead through the opt-in, through the one-time password, through the autofill. What other things can we do right now on the platform itself to enable us to get a better quality lead in our hands?
So the other thing that I'm really excited about on lead forms is the introduction of rich creative. So this is where you can actually treat your lead form like a little bit of a landing page. So you can put onto your rich creative lead form before and after pictures at this stage, which we haven't seen for a long time on the Meta platform.
We'll see how long that lasts.
Yeah. we can introduce Google reviews, Facebook reviews, and then we can offer one-time hooks. So for an example, for a fitness business, get a free consult worth $97 if you book your call today. And it just gives the prospect a lot more information about what they're actually inquiring into. And again, gets you a better quality of lead.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this. And it's very, very new. Some of the real key essential items we want in that rich creative is social proof, an offer. Anything else that needs to be on there?
I think social proof is going to be the biggest one. Make sure you've got good quality Google reviews, good quality Facebook reviews, and then just more information about the actual product. So quite often people will take a quick glance at your ad copy and still don't even really know what they're signing up for. So it's the opportunity to give them much more detail, again, to pre-qualify them.
Yeah, and what I have found, and we've talked about it on this podcast in previous episodes, is right now we're in a trust recession. Prospects are more cynical, they're more skeptical than they've been in the past. So this is where that social proof and the opportunity to embed it in the ads itself is so powerful.
Yeah, consumer behavior has changed dramatically on the platform and people are just being bombarded left, right, and center with offers. So if you can really have a cutting edge, cut through lead form that gives them all of the information so they are crystal clear about what they're opting in for, you're going to get a much better quality sale.
Okay, so love the meta changes so far from the perspective that it should make our targeting easier eventually. We are now getting better quality leads.
Yep.
You said at the introduction that you work with over 60 different business owners in just around the world.
Yeah.
What's the big difference that you see between a fitness business that runs a good campaign versus a fitness business that runs a great campaign?
Yeah, great question. So the first thing would be a good campaign tells people who you are and what you do. A great campaign is going to hit pain points and draw out those emotional feelings from your prospect and then literally sell them the solution to their problems in the ad copy would be the first thing.
Okay, so number one, just to summarize, it actually speaks to them.
Yeah, 100%.
It's like the copy itself is entering the conversation that they have in their mind.
Yes.
And when they read it, they go, this is me.
Correct, yeah.
Okay, so that's the first thing. So you want to be really good at copy and you want to know your audience particularly well. What else can business owners do to make sure they have a great campaign?
Their creatives at this stage are going to be their hook. So again, with the detailed targeting not quite being on point at the moment, your creative is the messaging and it is the hook. So you have to have a really strong headline and then you must multi-test different styles of creative. So reels, videos, statics, text-based images are still working too. And then test all of those to be able to see what's going to work best for you.
And if I understand you correctly, Beck, it sounds like we need to invest more time and energy into our creative. We can't just have one black and white text image and think that immediately is going to generate a truckload of new leads for us.
Absolutely. If you're still running ads like we were in 2023, you're already behind. So you have to test 5, 6, 7, 8 images at the start, depending on your budget, and then work out what's going to perform best. But there have to be a variety of creatives.
Yeah, I think the level of sophistication required is that much greater these days. And so it's no longer enough just to have one UGC, user-generated kind of content. It's no longer enough to have a text image, but you want to have some really good reels. You want to have some show reels as well as some VSL style reels as well.
Absolutely. And the quality of the editing, the quality of your ad captions, the placement of it is even catching people out as well at the moment. So making sure that you just invest the time or the money for somebody to do it for you is key here.
Yeah, I was going to say this can be a little bit overwhelming, right? Yeah. So to your fitness business owner that has already got 1,000 things to think about and to prioritize, they now need to become a media company. And you're talking about great editing and it needs to look professional. What would you say to that?
I would outsource personally. I think you can't mess around with your marketing. It's the first impression people have of your business. And if it's going to look average, people are going to have an average opinion of you from the get-go.
I want to talk about misconceptions because there's a lot of them when it comes to Facebook ads, Instagram ads, and I want to talk about some of the ones that you've heard, and now it's your opportunity to set them straight.
Yeah, the biggest misconception at the moment is I'm going to invest $30 a day into my ad campaigns and sales are just going to walk through the door.
I wish it was the case. I really do.
I mean, it's good, but it's not that good. And quite often, I think when people run ads, it's a reflection of their business. So if your offer is not cutting through, then you're going to get a higher cost per lead. If the creatives are not going to hit the mark, you're going to get a higher cost per lead. If you're not a great ad copywriter, you're going to get a higher cost per lead. So it's not good enough at the moment just to be able to say that you're going to throw up any old ad and it work, because it's not the case.
I think one of the things that you touched on right there is expectations. And a lot of the time, the consumer thinks that the ads themselves are going to be the answer. They're going to be the holy grail. Here's the silver bullet that's going to rescue me and my business. And I will say this, Facebook ads are the most effective way to get new clientele, even in 2025 with the costs going up and all of these changes to the platform. However, that doesn't mean that people are just going to line up at your door.
Absolutely not, unfortunately.
No. And you've got to invest in the skill. And it's not just the skill of running the ads. It's the skill of copywriting. It's the skill of the videos and being on video. And then you've also got to ensure that you've got the follow-up and conversion systems to support the lead generation that you get.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions is that people are ready to buy and they're not. A lot of the time, these are the coldest style of leads that you can get and they are not yet ready to buy. And I'll talk a little bit about how we get them ready to buy a little later. But at the moment, you will have to follow up multiple times over multiple days in multiple different ways.
Yeah, we've got to remember that this is disruptive marketing. And the person hasn't jumped on Facebook or Instagram to go and join a gym. They've jumped on to go and watch some reels, have a funny laugh, and just
zone out for a couple of hours.
Yeah. They're on the doom scroll, and then all of a sudden your ad appears. And it's not like they're in this active research stage. We know the stages of change model, and they're not in that preparation stage, a lot of them. And people forget that. They think, oh, well, if they put their details down, they're ready to start today and they're hot to trot. They're going to be outside my place, with their credit card in hand.
We wish, but unfortunately, no, there's some tough conversations I've had to have with people about that's not always the case. Even with the world's best follow-up, you're not going to close every lead that you get to opt in from your ads.
Yeah, I want to talk about that for a little bit as well, because I think one of the other misconceptions that people have is they should be closing more of the leads. And what we find is there's a huge number of variables and you've got to run your numbers on it. But the reality is it's probably going to sit around that kind of 15 to 20% mark in terms of conversion of lead to a client itself. So number one, just ready yourself. It's a numbers game.
Correct. Yep.
Number two, know your numbers. We said it before, but a lot of, even if you're converting 1 out of 10 leads and it's $40 a lead, and it's $400 to acquire that client, well, if you're putting them into a program that's $100 a week, you recover the costs in 4 weeks, although we could probably charge up front for it anyway, and we would in most cases, so we'd liquidate it. And then if you can hold on to them, say, even if it's 9 months, let's go 12 months, then that person is worth anywhere between kind of $4,000 to $5,000. So are you happy to spend $400 to acquire the $4,000 client?
I would play that game all day long.
All day long. Yet when it's our business, we go, well, the leads are getting expensive. We should be getting converting more, but they're not actually looking at all the data itself.
Yeah, we're not taking into account the bigger picture. And another big misconception too is that you'll get a lead every day. That's a new one that has popped up recently for us. So I'm spending $30 a day. My average lead cost is $30. I should get a lead a day. And at the moment, that's just not the case. I'm seeing leads pop in, 1 day, 2, 3 days in a row, and then nothing for 2 or 3 days. And then all of a sudden, 5 leads in a day. So patience is key here as well.
That's a really big one because I see a lot of people shit themselves. That's the technical word.
I was trying to be polite.
Yeah, no, it's my podcast and I can be rude. And they panic essentially, and they don't get the lead for a couple of days, and then they switch everything off, or they'll muck around with things on the back end. And what you're doing is you're just making it harder for yourself, aren't you?
100%. And if you haven't got $200-300 a week to invest in your marketing, then as me being the agency owner, I would say maybe it's just not right for you right now. If you don't have that ability to be able to kind of disconnect away from those funds, it's because it will come good. You just have to be patient.
Yeah. All right. You are an agency owner.
I am.
And there's a lot of agencies in the fitness marketing space. There is a new one popping up on my feed every other day. What separates you from everybody else?
I think the first thing is transparency. I am open and honest with every client about where their campaigns are at, how much their leads are costing, and what I'm doing about it if it's not going as to plan.
Yeah. Okay. So you're going to get transparency. Great. That sounds amazing. But what else do I get? Like, why else should I run my ads through you?
Yeah. You're going to get education. So I truly believe that it's a partnership now, not just I'm going to deliver your leads to your inbox. So there's education around sales, education around marketing, education around organic marketing, education around what do we do with the leads if they don't opt in straight away. And then, of course, sales training on top as well.
Yeah. And I think one of the real distinct advantages that you have is that you have access to so much data. And because you're managing so many accounts, you can see different styles of ads, different headlines, different videos, and you can take that into a new client where a lot of agencies don't have that specific industry experience to the scale that you have. And so they're really just throwing some stuff at the wall and hoping it sticks.
100%. And I think 17 years in the fitness industry as well, I've run a lot of ads over my time. So I can easily pick what's going to work well and what's not going to work well in a particular business.
Beck, this has been an incredible conversation. It's been very enlightening. Is there any last little pearls of wisdom or tidbits that you wanted to share before we finish this episode?
I think if you're going to go and run your ads at the moment, take the AI with a grain of salt. And my biggest tip after that is test your creatives using high quality reels.
Beautiful. So much value from you today, Beck. I really appreciate you being on the podcast itself. Now, there's going to be people who have watched this, listened to this, and they're going to want to reach out. You give a lot of free content. You run free webinars all the time. You've got lots of value in your posts. How can they best do so?
Facebook and Instagram would be, ironically, the best place to get me.
Who would have thought?
So Rebecca Anderson for Facebook and Beck Anderson 1812 for Instagram is the best way. Send me a DM and I'm more than happy to give a free ad review as well.
All right. Take advantage. Beck is just a wealth of information. You've heard some of her incredible knowledge here today. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. I hope that it's been really valuable for you and it's going to help you generate more income, help you have more impact and derive more freedom from your fitness business. Thank you for watching.